So, have you ever really stopped to think about what makes someone a hero? I mean, is it just one single crazy act of bravery? Or is it more about a lifetime of dedication? Or, hey, maybe it's something you're just born with? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that by looking at three totally different stories of greatness.
So, yeah, I want you to keep this question right here in the back of your mind as we go through this. What does it really take to be a hero? Because trust me, the answer might be a lot more complicated and maybe, just maybe, a lot closer to home than you think.
All right, so let's start our journey with maybe the most unexpected kind of hero. You know, the one who never, ever asked to be in the spotlight.
So, I want you to meet Ramya. He's a waiter, and his day is, well, it's just like any other day, right? He wraps up his shift, 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and he hops on a bus to head home. He even grabs a seat right behind the driver. Everything is completely, totally normal. And then, out of nowhere, bam, crisis strikes. The driver just slumps forward, his head almost hitting the floor. He's completely unresponsive. And just like that, a totally routine bus ride becomes a life or death situation. And things are getting bad, fast. The bus isn't just rolling, it's actually picking up speed, and there's nobody driving. You can just imagine the panic. Everyone's life is literally hanging by a thread. This is where Ramya just leaps into action. Okay, first thought, try to pull the driver out of the seat. But nope, the guy's too big. So, without wasting a single second, he has to improvise. He lunges for the steering wheel to keep the bus straight, and at the same time, he stretches his own foot over to the brake. He just starts pressing down, slowly, carefully, until he brings that whole runaway bus to a safe stop on the side of the road. Incredible. And think about this for a second. Ramya's a waiter, right? That's his job. But in that one crazy moment, for maybe just 10 minutes, he became exactly what everyone on that bus needed him to be. He was a bus driver, and he was, without a doubt, a hero. Okay, so that's a hero made in an instant. Now let's switch gears completely. We're going to move from someone who became a hero by accident to someone who was forged through years and years of pure effort and just relentless ambition. And that brings us to Jayanthi Kuru Utampala. Her story, wow. This achievement was no accident. It was the absolute peak, no pun intended, of a conscious, incredibly difficult, and super ambitious goal. She wanted to be the very first Sri Lankan to stand on the summit of Mount Everest. And just to put that into perspective, to give you a real sense of what that takes, her journey to the top of Everest wasn't a matter of hours or days. We're talking 2 entire months. 2 months of pushing her body and mind to the absolute limit, battling freezing cold and navigating some of the most dangerous terrain on the planet. And really, her story comes down to one powerful word: perseverance. You know what that is, right? It's that grit, that refusal to give up when everything is going wrong, when your plans are a total mess, and every single part of your body is screaming at you to just quit. That is what gets you to the top of the world. Okay, on to our third story. So let's recap. We've seen heroism born out of a sudden crisis, and we've seen greatness that comes from pure perseverance. Now, let's look at a different kind of greatness, one that seems to spring from a lifetime of just innate talent and constant innovation. And for that, let's talk about Ray Wijewardene. I mean, this guy is almost hard to describe. He was a brilliant engineer, a game-changing inventor, and, get this, he was also an Olympic athlete. I mean, talk about a multi-talented person. And his life's timeline just shows you the incredible range of things he did. So in 1955, he's inventing technology that completely changes farming. Fast forward 13 years to 1968, and he's competing in the Olympics, in sailing. And then decades later, he's receiving these huge national awards for everything he's contributed over his life. See, his real passion was finding solutions for real-world problems. Let's take his most famous invention, the Landmaster tractor. Before him, see, the big imported tractors were just way too expensive and bulky for most local farmers. So what did he do? He designed a smaller, much more affordable walking tractor that was perfect for them. This thing improved the lives of thousands and thousands of farmers, and it even ended up being popular in more than 20 countries. So there you have it. 3 incredible people, 3 totally different stories, right? You've got the accidental hero, the super determined mountaineer, and the lifelong innovator. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. But what if I told you there's a single idea, a single framework that actually connects them all? Well, it turns out that hundreds of years ago, a pretty famous writer gave us a way to understand all of this, and it ties these stories together perfectly.
And here it is. You've probably heard it before. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Three totally distinct paths, but each one leads to something pretty remarkable.
Okay, so now let's connect the dots. Let's map our three stories onto this idea. Ramya, the waiter, he's the perfect example of having greatness thrust upon him. He wasn't looking for it, but when the moment came, he stepped up. Then you have Jayanti. She's the absolute definition of achieving greatness through just pure will and perseverance. And finally, Ray, the innovator with all those talents, he represents being born great, using those natural gifts he had to improve the world. Now, of course, that doesn't mean he didn't work hard, but his genius was something he started with.
And that brings everything right back around to you. We've seen that greatness can be a split-second reaction, a long-term goal, or just a natural gift. There's no single recipe for it. So the real question isn't if you can be great, it's how. So which path will you take?